childhood heroes sitting just down there on the front on the front bench. But before we actually invite them to the stage, what I thought we'd do is run a little clip to show you our favourite brothers in action.
Listen up, men. Them heroic lads are finally back in action. And this time, I don't mean us zeroids. No, the original Tracy boys is reunited and ready to, if you'll excuse the expression, go!
Okie dokie. Now, I'd like to welcome onto the stage, in no particular order, Shane Rimmer, David Graham, Jeremy Wilkie, and Matt Zimmerman. Now, I had just before we start, I had a discussion earlier on about the order in which the Tracy Brothers appeared on the title sequence. And I'm glad to tell you that I was actually right, because I said, no, somebody told me it was 1, 2, 3, 4, but it wasn't, was it? So, anyway, that's beside the point, but I was right. My memory does not cheat me. Now, as a young boy, which is quite a few years ago now, I used to watch these guys in action. Well, not these guys, but the puppets, and it's quite surreal to be here on stage. And does it actually, let me just ask you a question, does it honestly feel like 50 years ago that you were doing Thunderbirds?
No. About 140, actually.
In your case.
Yeah. No. Not at all. Seems like yesterday.
It seems like yesterday to me.
Yesterday.
I'd like to start off actually by having a quick chat with Jeremy, because you joined the series after it had been running for about 18 episodes.
Yeah, 16.
Was it 16?
26. No, the first 16 David did. He did the next 16.
26 David did.
Who's talking? Out.
So after
16, then he did the next 16.
No, he did the last 6. 26.
Last 6?
Yeah, the last 6, the second series.
so anyway, after a certain number of episodes, which we are going to debate on later on, Jeremy stepped into a very big pair of boots. Now, Jeremy, just briefly, had you watched Thunderbirds before you were called into
Not
action?
when I first tried out for it, no. But I've just been working in Canada
Right.
for 10 years and doing a lot of radio. So I was...
Oh yeah.
Hello.
Oh,
They are on.
Hello. Are your mics on? Yeah. Jolly good.
Is mine on?
So the show.
We'll settle that.
No. By the way, listen, I must warn you while we're doing this. If you feel the ground shaking tonight, it's nothing to be worried about. It's just Judas Priest down the road at Donington, you know, Monsters of Rock. We're not going to have any Monsters of Rock today, but we will tomorrow.
Oh, good.
We are having some Monsters of Rock tomorrow. Rock snakes. You know what I mean, don't you? Anyway, speaking of which, it was, I think, your first outing as Virgil Tracy was the Thunderbirds film. The Thunderbirds Are Go. Not the I mean, the Thunderbirds I Go film, not the, you know, the...
No, it was a television one.
And,
As far as I remember.
oh, was it? Right. So how did it feel to you then, being suddenly to be amongst this fine body of men?
Yeah, it was fun.
Did they welcome you with open
It was
arms?
fun. Yeah, except him. He was
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
So just in case,
I don't remember him at all.
No. Just to remind myself, we've got Scott Tracy here, Thunderbird 1, Alan Tracy, Thunderbird 3, Gordon Tracy, Thunderbird 4, and Virgil Tracy, Thunderbird 2. So where is John?
Well, he's stuck up there, isn't he? Where are you?
Can you use the mics, please, guys?
Yeah, I remember.
You've got to speak into the mics, guys. You're being told off.
Wasn't he?
Only once in Ricochet.
Once, yeah, but it was Alan who used to have to replace him.
Yes.
It was me that used to have to replace him.
So
Can't hear you.
yeah, we can't. We got to.
I can hit him too well, that's the problem.
This is.
And he's broken the mic already.
Is this anything like the voice recording sessions that you had? Was it like this?
Oh yes, with him. Oh yes. Yes, can't keep a good man down.
So was it?
Give us
Was
a
it?
pun.
Don't speak while I'm interrupting.
I'm getting the impression now that 50 years ago it must have been a bit of a riot with you guys.
It was very quiet and professional.
Actually,
Did
Well, it was really. Well, we used to laugh a lot. I mean, we...
You want to use your microphone?
did
No, but they can hear me.
Everybody
Jamie's
can, yeah.
well.
tell me? Did Jamie's father keep an eye on you and keep you in check?
He couldn't believe what he was looking
Well,
at.
no, I don't. It was actually somebody else who used to keep an eye on. It was Lady Penelope in charge of us.
Where is Lady?
Because she was in the same room as us, you see, when we were recording.
Right.
So
So where is Lady Penelope these days?
oh, she's very wealthy and retired and living. I think with
Monte Carlo?
her butler. Not you. No. Oh.
So Jeremy, you joined the series after 16 episodes or 17, and as it happens, I hate to say this, guys, but he took over the most iconic Thunderbird. Were you aware that Thunderbird 2 was the most iconic of all the Thunderbird?
No, I'm afraid I wasn't.
Does it overwhelm you to know that?
I thought he was just a nice guy.
Well, that's not much of a build-up, is it?
I
It's like a load carrier. That's all you.
obviously David
I
Holliday
had a
was.
rocket ship.
You can't keep a good man. Obviously, David Holliday was the original Virgil
I've never
Tracy.
heard him, I don't know what
Right, so you weren't asked to kind of listen to his.
No.
You made it up as you went along.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We're still doing it.
Yeah. So when you were doing the voice sessions, just remind me. I had an idea in my mind that you would be standing at the side of the stage, reading the lines, and the puppets would be talking. But that's not the way it was done.
It's not like a radio play.
Like a radio play.
So-
It was like a radio play.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
And we used to do 3 episodes a Sunday, and we would all line up there. I think we had 3 microphones hanging that we used to have to use in front of. Though Ray Barrett used to get confused about that, but never mind. And we used to do 3 episodes, and we did it like a radio play. That's why the scripts are so good, basically,
I think so.
They added everything else afterwards. I don't know about anybody else. The first time I saw my puppet speak with my voice, I had to go and do a wild track, and I was sick to my stomach.
We all were, actually.
Yeah, give them the lines.
we forgot about
They
that.
almost don't jump in.
But it gives off a weird feeling seeing the voice come out, Can I ask you something? Who was the Welshman doing the voice on that thing?
Windsor Davis. Well,
That was Windsor Davis.
That was Windsor Davis.
That's
I
what
thought he
said.
was dead.
rumours of his death are being greatly exaggerated, was it? So when you were doing your voices for the various Tracy brothers, obviously, did you have any idea at that stage what your puppets would look like, or did it come as a surprise to you when you saw them?
No,
we were given sort of ideas and pictures, drawings at the beginning. I remember looking at Brains's picture and I think possibly Parker, but there's a backstory with the Parker voice, which I'm sure everybody has heard 1,000 times.
But we want to hear it again. We want to hear it again.
Well, and I mean, Jerry took me to lunch at the pub in Cookham, and he said that there's a wine waiter here who apparently used to work in the royal household, and he liked me to listen to his voice, so he called him over, and he said the immortal words, "Would you like to see the wine list, sir?" So that was the birth of Parker, and I sort of tweaked him here and there, made him a bit more eccentric, and the rest is histoire, as they say.
Well, you see, what I find amazing is if I shut my eyes, and I'm not going to walk around while I'm doing this, but if I shut my eyes, when you guys are speaking, I'm transported back in time to my childhood, because your voices just haven't changed.
I haven't opened my eyes so far.
The what?
I haven't opened my eyes so far because I'm still imagining you as the.
You've been asleep, haven't you?
I can assure you, no way.
You paid a lot for your ticket.
If he's sleeping, he must be having a nightmare.
So how did it feel then, seeing your when the series became a feature film in 1966, I think it was?
Yes.
How did it feel to see the puppets up there on the big screen? Was it a big difference to seeing them on the TV? Did it?
Well, I didn't think they worked as well on the big screen. It was made for the small screen, and I think I'm glad we did the film, but I thought it just took something away. I don't know if my
I'm
friends
with you.
would agree.
I'm with you. It's difficult, you know, when you're used to one sort of. Thank you very much. I'm so tired of telling everybody else to look in the microphone talking. Yes, I know. You're a very good friend. Yes.
But I remember. The film. I'm
It's
sorry.
rather difficult to get used to another dimension of, you know, you're used to seeing the puppets in a particular physical shape and voice and all that sort of thing. And then to see these things explode on the, you forget how the screen magnifies everything. And bit of a shock, but we took it.
So would you agree then that the series worked better on TV than on the screen?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
I think definitely.
But you must have all gone to the film premiere. Was it
Yeah, it
Leicester
was
Square? What was that
Pavilion.
like?
Well, they had the band of the Royal Marines playing the wonderful Barry Gray's tunes.
That's right.
Which was an accolade in itself.
I wasn't there. I was doing a show.
Lou
at the
Grade
time.
arrived, followed by a cigar.
There's a fantastic story which may or may not be true. Obviously, Cliff and the Shadows were in the film as puppets, and apparently Cliff was on his way to the premiere, but the crowds were so thick and you know the streets were jammed with people. He couldn't get through, so he just went home.
Really?
Yeah, he turned around and went home. But the Shadows made it, which is good. Which is
Yeah,
good.
that was good.
But having said that, you see, you made the Thunderbirds film, but then there was another Thunderbirds film, Thunderbirds 6. So I'm assuming that the film must have been fairly popular.
Yes, it was.
It must have been popular enough to make a second one.
It was very popular around London, and you know the all the roads, as they say. I think it slowed down a little bit when it got out to the what do they call them?
Suburbs?
Provinces.
Move further than that.
The provinces.
The provinces.
I remember Bob Monkhouse did one of the voices in the second one. He was very nervous.
There was a.
He was a very talented man.
I had the great pleasure of meeting Ed Bishop many years ago,
Oh,
and he was talking about when he worked on Captain Scarlet, and he was saying it was really funny because we used to get quite attached to our characters, and we would be reading the script and we'd be saying, well, I don't think my character would say that, you know. Did you find that with Thunderbirds? Did you start to take an unhealthy interest in your cut? You know?
I thought all the scripts were spot on.
Yes, they were.
They fitted the character so well that I never had any gripes, you know, gripes about them.
The only thing I ever commented, and David used to comment on, was because it was done for the American market. And sometimes the language was too English.
That's right.
And we used to have to change it slightly to make it more mid-Atlantic, I think is the word. Yeah.
We never found out where Mid-Atlantic was. Search.
It's the water in the middle
Search.
of the Atlantic.
Search.
Have you never been there?
What,
You want to go?
I don't want to.
Are you sure?
No, you're going to do something.
Because we're talking about the writing, but I think I'm right in saying that when they first began making the series, they were going to be episodes of 25 minutes duration. Then the famous story, Lou Gregg saw the first episode and said, threw his arms up and said, this is not a television program, this is a feature film. So then they had to expand upon what had already been written.
He said this won't work in a half hour, it has to be an hour. So we had to go back. We'd already done 6, I think.
I think so, yeah.
And we had to go back and add a secondary story to make it up to an hour.
Sometimes it didn't match.
Sometimes it did. Right, I know it.
Pretty funny.
My stuff did.
Your stuff always did because you were very good. So, yeah. But why are they laughing? No, and we had to go back and do that, and we did a secondary story. We made it up then to 1 hour, and I think that was phenomenal at the time. That we were suddenly doing a thing for children, basically, although the adults were watching it, and it was an hour long, you know.
And it worked.
And it worked, and it did work, you know. And even in America, it worked very positively.
I mean, do you think maybe that's partly, the success of the series may have been partly down to that, because it was greatly expanded upon compared to, say, Stingray or Fireball Outside Fire, which were only 25 minutes. You had an hour. Do you think that was maybe key to the success?
I think so. I think so. Yes, and also the fact that it was international rescue. There was a lot of it because there was actually an international rescue formed up afterwards that actually did do stuff all over the world, and that was a very important thing with the series, and it just worked out, and the hour was good. Although it wasn't really an hour, it was 50 minutes something because they had put commercials in or something.
Yeah, but the special effects.
Oh, unbelievable!
I mean, the budget was colossal for
It
a
was.
show,
Yeah.
and the genius of Derek Meddings. I mean, you saw some of it on the, on the screen. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
I realise it's
There was a story where he went to Luke Reid and said, well, if we're going to do that, we're going to need so many millions of dollars. And Luke Reid said, got it, and got the money and go and do it, yeah.
That's what he said. I think it was the first time that a family show, which was the family, the father, the mother, the mother.
My mother died at my birth.
I didn't mean to bring this up, honestly. I didn't.
When she saw you, she gave up the dress.
And also to mix this, sort of, what's he doing out here?
You company.
Yes, you're doing very nicely. Yeah, I know.
Another great thing about the series that
I
there
wasn't
was
finished.
no
I wasn't finished, David.
go ahead.
Thank you very much. It's the first time.
If I get away.
Anything.
Yes, it stopped for a minute.
A minute.
A minute.
I got a minute? Thanks. It was the first time that a family sort of orientated series was a successful mix with this spatial hardware. I mean, it just hadn't happened before. And it worked, again, it worked. I think really by the way that it was written. Somehow or another it was acceptable and it worked, and I think the program really was off on its own. There wasn't anything like it.
So when, for example, you saw the first episode when it went out, or maybe in the previews or rushes, or your first episode, what did you look at it and think, this is something special? How can you remember how you felt when you first saw the first episode edited and cut together?
Well, I think I did think it was something special, you know, because it was on a higher level. I mean, the rest, I mean, Fireball, Stingray, Supercar even, but there was a steady progression of technical skill which went to an incredible level with Thunderbirds.
But I thought the characters became stronger too.
Yeah.
You know, more characterization, more color in the acting.
So Jeremy, I know you did a number of guest characters, obviously apart from Virgil. So how would you go about deciding upon the voice for a guest character?
Not me deciding, it was Jerry.
Oh, no.
He would say, that sounds too much like the other one you do, or something like that. And I'd say, well, I'm sorry, but I just can't do it. No, he actually, he was very, very tough and said, you know, do it again, but make it different.
Yeah.
Do it better.
El Supremo he was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know that Jerry was a one in a million. And it's nice to know that he was there keeping an eye on everything and not just off somewhere sunning himself in the Bahamas. He was there keeping an eye on you guys, making sure that
Well, he was in the control booth most of the time. I remember. Oh yeah, he was there. All the Sundays we recorded. Yeah. He would be there all the time. Definitely.
So what was life like working with Century 21? Were you did you knock around together a lot and sort of discuss your scripts or?
No. I could never find David's place. I didn't know where he lived. I couldn't get there.
Couldn't get there?
No, to his place.
Oh, his place.
Oh. Well, I started along in the 50s with Four Feather Falls, and I was lucky that Jerry kept using me. It was just wonderful. And then culminating in Thunderbirds, which was, you know, he gave me opportunities to play all these wonderful characters. What about Brains, though? I like Brains. Yeah, well, Brains, the face, I think, of Brains was Anthony Perkins, loosely based on Anthony Perkins. But I just thought up the voice. And I thought, you know, sometimes very clever people can't get the words out and they stutter a bit. I didn't want to. There's nothing against people who stuttered, but I think it was just enough, quiet.
Is there one episode, I wonder, from each of you, which you feel maybe shows off your particular skills or your particular character in its best light? Or is that really asking too much?
Yes.
But surely you must have or have you got a favourite episode which...
Well, I like Moving Your Dead. I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah.
Did you not?
Yeah, of course.
You did, okay. Give me a funny look then.
Well, I played a couple of villains.
Oh, yes.
There was a bank vault, you know, and the other character was called Light-Fingered Fred.
Yeah.
So I played both characters. So a lot of the time I was talking to myself in the studio. Well, we all do. If we were playing more than one character, you just did a pause and then went into the other character mode, and we got, you know, quite used to it, as the characters were so well delineated. And Ray Barrett and I used to do a lot of guest characters, and other guys did too.
What are the other guys? Yeah.
No, sorry.
I mean, you talk about it very casually, but I guess that is quite a difficult thing to do because, especially when you've got characters that are so different, and you've got to switch from one to the other. Just like
But you don't think of it at that time.
Part of the
You don't.
actors'
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You just do it. It's your job, and you just do it. You don't turn around and think, "Oh my!" I never went home and thought, "Oh God, I hated what I did in that episode." I didn't. I would never do that anyway. You know, I just get the money and run.
Well, I think what I'd like to do now is, because I'm running out of questions, well I'm not, but I'd like to give the audience a chance to maybe ask if you've got any questions for the lads. Stick your hands up.
I knew you were going to sneak this in.
Nobody is.
Okay, good night, folks. It's been very nice.
Well, tell me something.
Yeah, I was going to say, since two of you have been recording on the new Thunderbirds Go series, how has that recording compared to the work on the original series, and what did you think of the new series and the scripts?
Apparently, we're not talking about the new series.
Well, we can talk about it.
We can talk about it. I did an episode of it, and I enjoyed it very much working with him again. So I mean, you know, I enjoyed it. I've not had a chance to see. Because it's on at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock on Saturday.
I don't even get up to get milk at 8 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, so I haven't even seen any of them, so I don't know, basically. It was fun in the studio. We had a lot of Nice time.
Yeah, they're recorded more or less the same way
Yes, absolutely.
as before. We go to a studio in Soho, and
What I thought was fabulous, which was unbelievable in this day and age, is that the guy in New York is on the screen.
yeah, that's right. He's on what's it called? What you know,
Skype.
Skype.
Yes.
The chief writer who lives in Bob Hogue, his name is. He lives in L.A. and he's always comes up on Skype, you know, giving advice.
Yes.
And script,
Well,
any
it's
script
working.
changes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But in terms of conventions, I know this isn't exactly on the theme of Thunderbirds, but Jeremy, is this the first convention you've been to? Because I don't remember seeing you at any conventions prior to
I
this.
was at the one in Birmingham
Because I just wondered how
years ago.
you feel about being asked to recall events which happened 50 years ago. Does it bring back good
I met
memories?
every other actor in all the series at that same convention. Well, it was organised for us, of course, by Jerry and company, you know. But lots of actors that I knew from other series were there. People playing leads in big, big productions of the BBC.
Well, obviously you all played.
Tom Baker.
You all played, and you were in Doctor Who as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, you all played brothers in Thunderbirds, so you were quite close.
Yeah.
Did a bond develop between you during the course of the series? Would you say?
Not as brothers.
Well, with Shane, it was a James Bond, wasn't it?
That used to
He
happen
can't
all the
resist
time.
it. He just cannot resist it.
I bonded very much with Peter Dineley. He was fabulous. He had a little red sports car. I think it was an MG. And every once in a while, if I wasn't using my car, he used to pick me up. Well, I wanted that car. And I've got one now, but it isn't an MG, but I've got a sports car. But that's because of Peter Dineley. And his wife, Jane Hilton, they were just wonderful people, and I bonded with him. I felt he was the rock
Yeah.
of Thunderbirds. I really did felt that one of them commanding voice he had, and
I was the pebble. He was the rock, I was the pebble.
Yeah, I think the Jeff Tracy character was very, very important. It would be very remiss of me not to mention the music for Thunderbirds, because Barry Gray's music was absolutely
Genius. Absolutely fantastic.
and they're using it on the new series.
Yeah,
Bringing up to date.
Yeah.
So he's not, he's still going.
But was the music on Thunderbirds everything that you imagined that the series would need?
And more.
Yeah.
I mean, the marriage between Jerry and Barry Gray was just wonderful, artistically and every other way. And he was such a modest
They were
bloke.
married. Who was married?
Is this a joke?
Professional marriage.
You warn me, and then I would laugh.
I think Jeremy should add a little bit of sanity to the proceedings.
Yes.
What did you think of Barry Gray's music?
I liked it.
There you go.
Any more
Questions?
Mr. Graham, David, can
Yes,
you
sir.
please say my early morning tea, my lady, please?
Just that.
Your early morning tea, my lady.
Hurley boarding, Earl Grey, belated. You settle with me afterwards.
I love all of you. You're all legends, and I love all of you, sir.
I think
Pardon
actually,
A legend in my own lunchtime.
What was exciting as well at the time was the fact that it was the first time, the credits of the voices, they didn't say what we were. But that was the first time voices became very important in a series of a cartoon series or a puppet series. And that is when I first was aware of what was going on, when newspapers and magazines were calling, they wanted interviews about you're doing the voice of Alan Tracy, and the other people were getting the same thing. And that's when you thought, holy hell, what's going on here,
well, I mean, look, whether it was down to yourselves or Jerry, that's very true that not only were the voices very good, but they were all very, very, very different as well. You could tell exactly which Tracy Brother was talking if you had your eyes shut.
Yeah.
You knew exactly who it was, which was really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, the day after Jerry sadly died, in the Independent, on the front page, it said R.I.P. F.A.B.
Yeah.
Which was, I thought, lovely.
Now, I'll agree that Thunderbirds was an astounding series, and I think just to call it a children's TV show is not doing it justice. It's transcended that. But yeah, as I say, I watched it as a kid. I'm sure a lot of people here did, and it's amazing to be here on stage with four of the 5 Tracy Brothers. We don't know where the 5th one is, do we? But we.
Stay there.
Yeah, there. I've just been told that we've got to wind it up. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is that we're doing this all again tomorrow.
Oh my God! These are not recorded.
Sorry,
try and be there.
More bad news. We're doing it again tomorrow. So I think really what I should do now is ask you to put your hands together for the Tracy Brothers.